If you've had pain in your groin that's lasted for a month or longer, I can almost guarantee you that stretching it alone is not going to fix the problem. Luckily for you, in this video, I'm going to show you what is more likely to work. If you don't know who I am, my name is Harlow and I'm the Over-Fifties specialist physio here at HT Physio in Farnham. And today I'm going to be telling you why you should stop stretching your groin and what to do instead. Now, many people when they come to see me complain about pain in their groin on one side, and pain in the groin can be due to a couple of different things. We're going to talk about all of the things it can be due to in this video, but stretching it is something that only helps a small subset of people, and everyone else needs a slightly different approach. So I'm going to reveal that in a moment. I just want to let you know first that the exercises I show you are not going to be suitable for everyone. Please do get checked out before you give them a try, and if they cause you any pain, just avoid them. Anyway, let's have a look at the causes for this type of pain and what you need to do to fix it. If your groin always feels tight in here, it's probably not a tight adductor that's the problem. The problem is probably one of two things. Now, when a groin gets tight, it can be a symptom of a problem with the adductor, but tightness itself is usually the symptom, not the cause. The cause of an adductor problem in there is usually weakness. And weakness in the adductor can cause that kind of tightening sensation over time because the muscle can't cope with the demands you're placing on it. So if it's too weak to match the demands, it will tighten up over time and that will make it feel tight. You'll stretch it like this. It will feel better for a minute, but then it will come back again because you haven't fixed the weakness. So that's the first problem that could be causing tightness in your groin. The second problem that could be causing tightness in your groin is not the groin muscles at all, it's actually arthritis of the hip. Now, 95 to 98% of people who have hip arthritis first feel pain in their groin. So they often think, I've pulled a muscle in my groin, it's just not getting better, I'm not really sure what to do. And the problem isn't the muscle, it's the underlying joint. Now, the only way to know if you have hip arthritis is either to get an x-ray or to get an assessment from a physio or a doctor who can tell you what the chances are. But to give you a clue as to whether it's arthritis or not, if you can't internally rotate your femur like this, it could be that the joint has started to deteriorate, and that makes arthritis of the hip quite likely. Anyway, that aside, let's talk about what we can do for either of these problems to hopefully get the groin feeling better and not feeling like it's tightening up all the time. I'm going to give you two exercises now, one for each of those problems. The first one we're going to look at is if your groin is weak, and the second one we're going to look at is if you seem to have some early stage hip arthritis. So we're going to look at both of those now, and hopefully that will help your groin. The first exercise we're going to look at today is a strengthening exercise for your adductors. And your adductor longus is the main adductor of the hip that most people complain about with groin pain, and that lives on the femur, which is your thigh bone here, and it attaches to the front of the pelvis. So when it contracts, it brings your thigh bone in towards your pelvis. So imagine that you're sitting and you're trying to cross your legs. One of the main muscles that pulls your leg across you is your adductor longus, and it also feels like pain right there if it has a problem. Now, weakness in this muscle is quite common, especially for active individuals. And if you're overusing it without strengthening it, it's going to stay painful. Luckily, we can fix it. So this exercise is called the adductor pillow squeeze. It's one of my favorite exercises for adductor strength. And all you need to do is lie on your back like this, so you're nice and flat. And you're going to take a normal sized pillow and you're going to fold it in half. Hopefully your pillows don't fill with air like our clinical pillows. Right, you're going to pop the pillow now between your knees like this. Rest your head down on the bed. And all we're going to do for the first stage of this is squeeze the pillow by bringing our knees together and holding tight. I'm squeezing now quite tightly. I'm holding for the count of 5 and then relaxing. And the area I can feel working is this adductor area just below my hip into the top of my thighs on the inside. I'm going to squeeze again, squeeze, 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 and hold, 3, 4, 5, and relax. Now, if you do 10 of these in a row and you're squeezing hard, you're focusing on using those inner groin muscles, At the end of it, you're going to get a bit of a working ache on the inside of the leg. And that is a really good thing. That means that you've worked it to the point of fatigue. And if we do that enough, it is going to get stronger. But for some people, that isn't going to be enough. It might be a bit boring to do that over and over again. So if you want to make this harder, the next thing we can do is we keep the pillow between the knees. We're going to bring the legs up, making sure we keep the lower back nice and flat. And then we squeeze from the top with our feet off the ground. Now, when you're doing this, again, we're focusing on the squeeze coming from the knees, not coming from the ankles. Holding for a couple of seconds and relaxing. And again, squeeze and hold and relax. Again, squeeze, hold and relax. Now, again, try for 10 in a row. If you can get 10, that's great. If you can't, just work your way up to doing 10. And if you want to get one that's even harder, we're now going to take the pillow down to the feet. And now we're going to repeat. So we bring the leg up again. This time we're going to keep the knees apart, but we're going to squeeze the feet together, keeping that constant angle there and relaxing. And again, squeeze with the feet. Again, I can feel that deep in my groin. Hold and relax. And doing this kind of thing every day, a couple of sets a day, is going to be enough to build strength in the adductor and should take away the pain if your problem is an adductor longus weakness. Before we go any further, I just want to tell you about 3-Tip Friday. 3-Tip Friday is my weekly email that I send out to my list, and it features 3 of the most interesting things I've found that week. It could be a health tip, it could be a piece of research I'm reading, or it could be a new tool that I've found to be really useful for helping people get more mobile. It's totally free. I just send it out once a week. There's no annoying promos inside, and you can sign up for it by going down below this video and entering your email in the 3-Tip Friday link. Now, the second thing that could be bothering you if you've got a tight groin is hip arthritis. And as we discussed, this exercise I'm going to give you is great for early stage hip arthritis to prevent stiffness. We can't do anything to reverse the loss of cartilage, but what we can do is improve the movement at the joint, and improving that movement usually leads to an improvement in pain as well. So people with hip arthritis have often lost some flexion, which is this movement, and they've also lost extension, which is pushing the leg out behind. So I'm going to show you an exercise that helps you regain both. To make this work, we need one of these resistance band loops. You can get these quite cheaply online. They're a bit tougher than the average TheraBand, and you need something to attach it to that isn't going to move. So I'm going to use my heavy bed. If you have got access to a gym, you can use something that's tied into the floor or attached to the floor to wrap this around to make it work. Now, to make the exercise work, we're going to slip our leg inside the band like this, and we want the band to be sitting at the point as high up in the leg as we can, just before it reaches the groin. So that where the leg meets the pelvis, that's where you want the band to be sitting. You're going to come forward as far as you possibly can, building up a little bit of tension in that band like this. You're going to have your opposite knee down on the floor, and all we're going to try and do is lunge forward and bring our chest down towards our knee, and then come back to normal. So again, we're going to lunge forward, bringing the chest down to the knee. You can see I am able to put my hand on my knee. That isn't going to affect the movement, but what we're effectively doing here is forcing the hip up into comfortable hip flexion. And the reason I've got this band is because the band is providing what we call a distraction force. It's pulling the femur, which is your thigh bone, back into the position in the hip socket that it was designed to be in, and it's going to help us get a bit more flexion as a result. Now, I'd recommend doing about 30 of these in a row. It should be quite gentle. If it's causing you pain, definitely don't do it, but it should be comfortable. It should feel like you could do this basically all day without fatiguing or without getting too sore, and that should help you with this movement, which is flexion. We're now going to look at how to improve extension, which is the opposite movement, and this time all we're going to do is swap sides. So we've got this knee down on the floor and this leg up. The band stays in exactly the same place, so it's right up high on the leg near the groin. And now what we're going to do is keep the back straight and just force ourselves forward slightly and then back again. Now we're not forcing the leg too far out behind us because we only have 10 degrees of hip extension, even in an ideal world. So you don't need to go really far. You just need to go far enough so that you feel the band pulling against your leg and that you've reached your natural limit. You can do this by keeping the back up. So we're not pushing the back forward this time. The back is staying up. And we're just again gliding into it and back out. Should be really gentle. This is perfect to do before you do your workout or directly afterwards. I'm just using my finger here to keep the band high up in the groin so it's closest to the femur as it possibly can be. And again, I'm going to repeat about 30 of these in a row, a couple of times a day if possible. Now repeating that regularly is going to lead to a loosened hip joint. You'll find you've got more movement afterwards. You can squat better, you can walk better, and you should have less pain in your groin as a result. So that's why you should stop stretching your groin and what you should do instead. I hope that video has been useful for you. If it has, please do drop a comment below because I love to read your thoughts. And if you want to get more from me, you can pick up a copy of my book. It's called Thriving Beyond 50 and it's got loads more information about how to improve the health of your muscles and joints, all inside here. So if you want to grab that, go down to the link below. It will take you to Amazon and you can buy it there. If you do, I thank you very much and I look forward to speaking to you on the next video.